Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast, your home for all things Rolling Thunder. This episode is brought to you by Mossy Oak, because everything is better in Bottomland. Kent Cartridge, quality matters, performance counts. Shen Gear, waterfowl gear that is built better. And Benelli USA, dominate the skies.
I don't know. I don't think I envy people that get to start hunting when they're kids, when they're really little. I wouldn't say it that way. What happened for me was precious to me. Like, Spence and I have kidded around, but it's probably really true, is that like we grew up hunting together. Like he started hunting with me when he was 4.5 or 5 years old. You well remember we made our decisions about where we were going to hunt because he was going to be with us, that take it or leave it, we're bringing a 5-year-old. And I wouldn't think that Spence would trade that experience for anything, but it's really different experience than what we had. And what we had was magical in a different way. We were at a point in our life when we made a decision to try to learn to do something that we wanted to learn to do, and we were old enough to know we didn't know how to do it, and we didn't have any mentors that could teach us, and so we just had to do it together and hack it out, and that as a grown up. But you think about people that might listen to this podcast, think about the things that you've done as a grown up that you had no idea how to do, and then they become such joy giving. And not many people have that experience. You typically, by the time you're in your 20s, you've already sort of got a pattern of what you're going to get better at, whether it's golf or hunting or whatever. But you remember it from before time. I don't remember not having a horse to ride, for instance. Mm-hmm. But not like that for duck hunting, and it makes it kind of a different sort of a precious memory. Partly because we did it together. Like there were so many years there where we really never hunted with anybody else, and then that really marks out probably 15 or 20 years of our young adult life together as brothers, and I wouldn't trade anything for that. Not anything.
That's good. What are you digging for?
I'm digging for just an example of something. 96. I've lost it. I want to get back to 95.
Chris said he had 109 hours of podcast.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
No, y'all keep going. I'm not going. They're not in order.
Well, at some point, and we're not going to do it tonight, but just as a placeholder, I want to do this again about turkeys, after duck season in the spring, because that was well after y'all duck hunted.
Oh, yeah.
10 years or more.
Yeah.
I killed my first turkey probably in 93, maybe 92.
That's what I was going to say.
And that's, again, we can look that up, and that's the range on the barbecue ridge.
Mm-hmm.
That's full on grown man first time. Like we just didn't have that opportunity. We never thought about it.
Right.
And same thing with deer hunt. All of these hunting experiences came as we just experienced it, as grown men. And I don't have any complaints.
Yeah.
It makes it still really a lot of fun. I really don't think, I hope none of the young kids in our family just get bored with it because
Take it
they
for
got
granted.
Just take it for granted. Yeah.
yeah, they always had an opportunity to do it. They always got to do it, and you just want it to be precious because it is, and it's incredible. The way to make friends. Our wives tolerated us because they could see that at least we were with our kids. It was a really part of raising you.
My wife still thinks I suckered her a little bit because I didn't duck hunt.
Well, you'll have to have
when we got married. Yeah, so
you'll have to
we're still working through that.
Yeah,
It's been 10 years and we're still working.
She
through
should
it.
call Vicky. Vicky can help her. 'Cause
Okay.
she has a lot of PTSD for
Yeah.
the years that we hunted too much, and we had to learn to moderate. Not saying that we've completely learned it, but we do recognize that you have other things that you have to do besides become addicted to duck hunting. I can remember a year where out of a 50-day season, I hunted maybe 35 days and worked, and that's too much. It was just really hard on everybody in my world, including me. But you learn. I always like to ask Hollis, what's your favorite duck hunt ever? Yeah, we bounce around between a couple of them.
Whew. Those couple of days in a row at Tunica, the North Woods at Tunica, were pretty great.
When you came back from Houston.
Yeah. That would have been 85. That was pretty great.
Yeah. Those would be two.
So I was trying to find
While he's looking, you said Tunica made me think. When did the black powder shotgun thing?
One day,
when did that
Bob
get in?
Anderson and Hollis were coming to my house to pick me up for duck hunting, and they showed up with two each of them. They had a black powder shotgun, and Bob had talked Hollis into getting a black powder shotgun, and so we were going to Tunica, and they were explaining to me the wisdom of they were going to hunt with black powder shotguns, and Bob had figured out how to load shotgun shells with shot. And use
like a muzzle loader,
pour it down in there, and then we used Charmin
toilet paper
for the wad, and they were awful, shots with and they wanted me to bring a regular shotgun because I didn't have a black powder shotgun at that time, and so we were going to make an annual, try to kill a limpet with the black powder
Renaissance Festival.
shotgun. So you get one shot, and the black powder doesn't ignite when you pull the trigger, and so there's a timing problem, and you don't get to shoot a cripple. And we were hunting Tunica, and after every volley, the wadding, the nice
Toilet
blue
paper.
Charmin wadding got hung in the trees we were hiding in. So before the hunt was over, it looked like somebody had rolled the blind.
TP'd the blind.
That TP'd the blind and all the willows around us, and we shot
powder blue Charmin.
powder blue Charmin, and we shot 6 or 8 ducks that day on Tunica. Probably could have shot 60 that day if you guys would have brought regular shotguns. And I was relegated to cripple killing,
Cleanup duty.
cripple killing, because somebody had to be the humane.
when you boom, kind of thing.
It took a minute.
So I can confess that day I did kill a few ducks, but I never killed a duck left to right or right to left. It had to be coming straight in
You couldn't follow it.
because I could not follow it.
Yeah.
I'd miss it a school bus.
I did buy me a double barrel
We
black
bought it
powder
for Christmas
shotgun,
one year.
because I've always wanted to have an extra shot. Hollis doesn't shoot enough. He's a lot better shot. I can call ducks better than he can, but he shoots better than I do. But I can't get him to shoot. One box of shells will last him 2 years.
But I do have a double barrel shotgun.
Right.
Keith has it right now. Actually,
Yeah.
It needed nipples or something, and he's got it. I called him recently, and he still got it. So I don't think it's lost. he's had it for 10 years.
I think the one we got for Dad was the same as
It's the same.
The one.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
You
up
still
in
have
the,
it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So it's a thing. It's still a thing.
We might pull them out one day.
But we'll have to find.
It'll be a day when I'm not here with y'all.
Yeah,
No, you got to be on
I,
cripple duty.
That's fair.
I have adequately tolerated you bringing dogs turkey hunting and all
That's
this
fair.
other
That's fair.
rigmarole.
That's fair.
We ain't doing that.
That's fair.
I don't know, Spence. You might do it. But you might complain about it.
Somebody's got to shoot cripple, Spence. So you mentioned blowing a duck call a few times. So that very first duck hunt, you said you contemplated blowing on those duck calls.
I'm pretty sure we tried to blow. We never didn't try everything.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm sure it was awful, but I do remember learning how to blow a duck call and recognizing that I kind of had a musical skill to it. I could blow a duck call, and Dr. Stanley really would take me out behind the clinic when we weren't doing anything, teach me how to blow a duck call. He was a good duck caller, and I was really excited about it, and cassette tapes and listening to duck calls. And I was driving to the clinic one morning on going from Raleigh to Millington. We had a clinic there as a straight highway, Singleton Parkway, and I was in my 1970 Impala that I bought for $500 because it was broke from having Spence, and I was driving to the clinic, and I was really getting down on my duck call. I was really good at it, and that was so fun. And I got a cop of blue lights came behind me, and he was going really fast. And I realized he was going really fast to catch me because I was going 110 miles an hour. Whew. And he pulled me over, and he said, and I was blowing my duck call, and I just lost track of the speed because it was exciting. And he pulled me over and he said, "You have any idea how fast you were going?" I went, "I really don't." And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I was practicing my duck call." And I think he just saw how fun it was on my face. And he went, I don't even know why I'm not going to write you a ticket, but would you just need to slow down? Don't practice your duck call while you're driving on this 100. And he walked back to his, I never get tickets. I don't know why, but this guy was walking back to his car going, "I can't believe you're blowing your duck call."
I remember that. I remember him getting that.
I would have been in jail.
So what call were you blowing? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. It was a single reed. I always liked a single reed, probably a J-frame type call because I don't have enough wind to blow the cut down old type calls that Spence can blow. And but I could make a tune on a single reed. I never could blow anything but a single reed. So in the language that I understand today, it was a traditional, would you call it, am I saying that right?
The first one that you really hunted with was called a Big River game calls, and it was camouflage. It was wood. It was painted camouflage. I still have it.
Oh, that's cool.
And then y'all ran around with a guy named Harry Warner, and Bob Anderson and Harry Warner were both always kind of quasi collectors and into the Bob probably more than Harry in those years because he's I guess pre-Harry, but both of them kind of lived the sportsman's lifestyle all year. Like they collected stuff and they just had knickknacks, and like Bob wrote poetry and he was always just into stuff and so I remember that you both had somehow a connection with Howard Harlan, and so that was y'all both had a couple of those.
I had a black call that I blew for a long time.
Yeah, and then that's the next thing I was going to say was the first acrylic call that you had was a Grover Knoll from Clarendon, Arkansas, and
I really liked that call.
And you it was actually African Blackwood. It wasn't acrylic. But you bought it at the Agri Center and surprised the hell out of me. We were walking around the Mid-South Hunting and Fishing Expo, and Dad said, "Let's buy ourselves a duck call." And he bought 2 duck calls, and they were $120 a piece, and the price of duck calls hadn't gone up since.
You didn't have to tell that. But I could blow that call. It was a good call. I wish I still had it.
I know where it is.
Not surprised.
This is one of this is not poetry, but it's kind of a hear ye. That's Bob Anderson stuck in there that you just referenced. you know. It's a,
Should I read this?
It's just it's declaring Chuck and I kind of graduated.
We graduated.
Oh, this is okay. Well, hear ye. These words are written and set forth this day the day of our Lord, December 31, 1989, so that all men may know that on this day Hollis and Chuck Halford, having endured many trials and tribulations, some of which have been cold feet, soggy sandwiches, poor jokes, wet pants, and wind-chapped lips, having withstood the time of apprenticeship, forsaking warmth of bed and late morning sleep, for frigid boat rides and pre-dawn anticipation, shivering in the cold as night gave way to day and wings whistled overhead, and having endured the wrath of family and friends who wondered just when sanity left these two precious boys. Still they know when autumn days give way to winter and thoughts begin to wander to boats and decoys, calls and guns, old sweaters and hats, and stuff such as that, a strange feeling creeps in and grabs a hold. Hang on, lost the page. And grabs a hold. A man becomes heartless, insensitive, and downright cold. But as long as hunters hunt and ducks fill the sky, the Halfords will hunt till the day they die. Having realized this and readily admitting that I'll share a blind, boat, or marsh with these boys any day, I bestow on them the title of Master Duck Hunter given by my hand December 31, 1989. Bob Anderson, Grand Master Duck Hunter.
Here you go.
Well, that
is vintage
official.
Bob Anderson.
Yeah, and that was
Grand Master Duck Hunter.
It only took us 10 years, H.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it was 10 years of apprenticeship, and we were past. That actually means is Bob had borrowed and used or broken everything we owned by 1989.
Felt so guilty that he needed to bestow upon you master status.
Yeah, he needed to finally admit it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so this is an entry. It's 29 December 1984, and we're going to end up going back. Jim, that's Brenda's dad, and I went back to the lower Cache River today. We decided to hunt alongside one of the huge flooded bean fields, ... And, anyway, there's a few descriptions of the hunt itself, of a duck coming in. Jim was calling and said, I think it might have pitched in the boat with us. Drake came so close. Jim was calling, and Chuck shot it picture perfect. So then the next paragraph. This is a tough hunt for me. This will be my last hunt with Chuck for a year. Of everything I'll miss in Memphis, I'll miss duck hunting with Chuck most of all. What a blessing it has been to have a brother like him that you love so much. I love all my brothers, but Chuck and I have so much in common. Sunday the 30th, Brenda and I will head for Houston for a year. Then I go on, I talk about 1984 is almost history. It's been a year full of good and bad. I married my precious wife. I lost Sundance. That's a collie I had. My dad's surgery was the hardest challenge. He had open heart surgery. So I go on and talk about that, but it's 2 or 3 pages of talking about closing up a year and realizing I'm going to be gone for a year. And we came back. It's kind of fun because as God would have it, when we came back, that's December 1984. December 1985, when we came back, was those 2 hunts right in a row. There were 3. They were fabulous. and limits all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
But two of them right back to back were were crazy. Ducks lighting. We're in a boat in the woods, and they're 360. They're just lighting 360.
We could have killed 100.
Me and Chuck and Jim Taylor.
I called Hollis in Houston when he was packing this truck to come home, and he was going to get in really late at night. It's a 12-hour drive at the best. And told him, I said, just pack your hunting stuff last, because you're not going to have time to unpack when you get in, and I'm going to pick you up in the morning, take you to Tunica. The duck, I know where they are. And he said, I can't do that. And I said, well, I'll be there in the morning. Just put your stuff on the top.
So I got in about 10 o'clock that night.
So did Jim drive to Memphis to meet y'all?
The first day, it was just me and Hollis.
Okay.
And it was so good, I don't know if Jim was coming into town anyway, but
that's it. I read about it.
We took him back the second day, but the first day we went into this spot, and I guessed correctly, because we really didn't know exactly. But the second day we improved on our spot because we saw what they were doing the first day, and the first day was just me and him, and if I remember right, like I think one volley we shot 5, and Peggy picked. Maybe there was even a band or something that day. I can't remember. Abby
that's exactly right.
Abby picked them all up, and we were done, really early, and it was just unbelievable. It was beautiful.
Those were pre-Peggy years.
Yeah, and we, it really was literally like maybe of all of our hunts, like because of the missing each other, it was a year, and bookending that story is really fun for me, just remembering it. But we didn't actually go a whole year without hunting because I came to Houston and we hunted together in Houston.
There's some hilarious stories
in that fall, but that hunt was special. And then so we brought Jim back the next morning, and it was even better as far as the actual number of ducks because we improved our spot by about 50 yards, and they just wanted to be there. In fact, we were killing ducks so good, there were people waiting on our spot because they were close enough to see us, but they couldn't call a duck to them. And we stayed and landed 3 or 4 more groups after we had all our limits just because it was so fun. And Jim was the most fun guy to be with because everything we did to him was the most amazing thing he'd ever done in his life if you believed him, because he would say it like that. He would just be talking to himself in the middle of the boat, saying, "I can't believe that y'all are looking to use. I can't believe that there's ducks everywhere." He'd be just talking nonstop about how amazing, this experience was. It was so fun to be with him.
Yeah, because he was such positive and just about the whole thing. So
he couldn't decide which way to look.
It'd make you think it was the greatest day of his life. It may or may not have been, but he and it just made you feel big. It's like that time we took your brother turkey hunting, those 4 turkeys that day. I'll never forget. And I wasn't there. I was it was Chuck was there, but they got turkeys all around them, and you can just see Rob. His eyes are this big. He's got turkeys all around him. He's shaking. He's so excited, and in loud voice, they're just right there, 10 steps out there, heads up, and he leans over to Chuck and he said, "This is the greatest day of my life."
Well,
and Chuck and turkeys are just heads all up. You got turkeys all around him,
Well, shoot one.
This is the greatest day of my life. and sometimes I think on that, if Brenda and I are doing something and, beautiful this or that, it's the greatest day of my think of Rob, But I just can't say it like he can, like that story is in my head.
Jim was like that.
Jim was like that.
Did Jim grow? Did he duck hunt?
Yeah.
He grew up.
Yeah. He blew a copper double reed.
That's really rich duck history right there.
Yeah. And I met Jim now. Fast forward.
Sure.
Met Jim in 1984 or 82.
Right.
And we started. We were hunting together before we were married, but didn't take long.
I hardly ever go and I don't miss him.
Yeah, he'd be, yeah. And
he would like all this.
Oh my!
He wouldn't be able to believe it.
Oh yeah.
He can't believe anything.
It'd be the greatest day of his life. and remember that time we took him across the river?
Oh yeah. He laid down in the bottom of the boat because he wasn't going to go across the Mississippi River. There's no way anybody.
I just don't want. Why are you laying down in the boat? I just don't want to look at it.
I don't want to see it. Why do we have to do this?
See,
you can't go across the Mississippi River in a John
that.
boat.
It's like there's dragons over there or something. You can't do that.
Wait, hold on now. My memory's failing me, but was Jim Taylor also the person y'all took through the drive-thru at McDonald's?
No, we didn't take him to the drive-thru. We took him in the restaurant. But he's the guy you're thinking about. He never had been to a McDonald's, and he was 75 years old or something like that. He was the only guy in America that had never been to a McDonald's.
The last one.
And I just refused. I said, we were starving to death. That was probably the day that the compass went backwards.
Yeah.
But on the way back,
Confederate compass.
We were so starving. And we drove an extra 10 miles to find anything besides McDonald's. And Jim said, I don't mind. I said, Jim, we can't. Somebody has to live their whole life and not go to McDonald's. And he said, well, I don't want it to be me. Let's just go ahead and go there. So we were hungry. We took him there. And I remember when we got back in the car and we ate those crummy little McDonald's burgers, he was sitting in the back kind of talking to himself. He was either talking to himself or watching me so I wouldn't fall asleep driving. And he was saying, I don't see what the big deal is. They weren't that good.
Yeah, that's true. And but he crossed that river at Tunica, the run out at Tunica. Uh-huh. We hunted on this, and we killed ducks. And I don't know what in the world caused us to think we could kill ducks across the river there.
Man, what a long run!
Yeah, it was a long run.
I mean, from the ramp to
it was 7 or 8 miles.
Phew.
Yeah,
I would have said it was further than that.
One time we broke ice
the whole way
from we didn't cross the river that day, but we broke ice from the ramp all the way to the run out
with a like the boat raising it up and going down, but sometimes with like a hatchet.
Was there open water when you got to the run out?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
There was current
but we didn't hunt. You know why? You remember that? Why?
I don't remember.
He had such bad upset stomach diarrhea.
I thought we hunted a little while. We quit.
We quit. We may have hunted a little bit.
I was laying in the bottom of the boat blowing my duck call.
He was laying in the bottom of the boat, literally, with diarrhea
and
blowing his duck call.
They hold me over the side of the boat every now and then.
That's the truth. That's the gospel truth.
They couldn't call. They could shoot, but they couldn't call. So.
And he's laying in the bottom of the boat calling, call, Chuck, call.
It's hard to blow. It's hard to blow at both ends.
And that's the gospel truth. And we had broke ice to get there.
Yeah, and I survived it.
And his
clip right there.
And his legs.
Call Chuck, call.
Call Chuck, call. And his legs would stick on that boat. His feet.
It's so cold.
Oh,
I gotta get up.
On the side of that boat.
Just hold me there for a minute, will y'all? Come on.
You know what I'm talking about? Lips to stick on it. He'd stick on that boat. And he'd complain about that.
I don't know why anybody would complain about that.
And Jim Taylor having to live through that, he couldn't imagine getting stuck with the two of us and loved it. Couldn't imagine, what he was living through.
I feel like we hunted a lot longer than you remember that day. Of course, every minute was.
But I remember we went home early.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Whatever that means.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I had to go to work.
Well, I do remember you calling in the bottom. We hunted enough to you were calling in the bottom of that boat.
Glad you remember that.
And it's in here. It's written in there. That's written in here.
Oh, me.
We're glad you can call, Spence. I don't have to do that anymore.
That's pretty good. I guess we need to go to bed.
Okay. Turkeys. We're going to talk about turkeys sometime?
Sometime.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I got pictures of us in Missouri. Yeah, we've.
That's a whole nother chapter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank y'all. This is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Thank you for writing all this down. And
Well, we need to. They need to be more accessible to us here. I need to go through them a little bit, get pictures put in there. I need to, do a little bit more. It's all there. I can find everything. I can find when Holly was born, when we were married, when Chuck had his second kid, and it's after that happened before the next hunt, the next hunt.
Catch up.
Caught up with that, and so.
Those will really be special.
Yeah, so we looked up, Spence and I looked up this past year somewhere. He referenced
you and Chuck
it,
did.
and his first duck hunt. He said,
Turkey.
Turkey, was it turkey?
Uh-huh.
He said, I remember that. And he said, I remember when it was. I said, when? He told me the date.
So the exact date, and he went straight to it.
Straight to it. That's it. And it said, this is Spence, So.
Dad, and you took pictures of it, sent it. I think it was 8 pages.
Okay.
And Dad texted me off to the side, and he said, "You probably should do yourself a favor and not read that around everybody. That'll get you."
Good. Well, thank you.
Good
yeah,
one.
thanks for your time. We'll do it again. There's some more Halford stories that need to be told. So
We're still making them.
oh yeah.
Yeah, hopefully Hopefully make a bunch more.
Like Big Jake said, I ain't dead yet.
That's right.
Not hardly.
All right.
All right.
All right, let's go to bed.
Thank
To all
you.
our listeners out there, we'll catch you on the next one. Are you ready to uncover the next hidden gem in the DU Vault? The Ducks Unlimited Into the Vault auction, sponsored by Dive Bomb Industries, offers an extraordinary chance to claim rare and exclusive treasures. From unique, one-of-a-kind firearms to remarkable prints and never-before-seen relics, there's something for every collector. Visit www.intothevault.org today to preview what the vault has inside. Bidding opens November 27th. Mark your calendar and don't miss your chance to own a piece of history. Your next great find is just a bit away. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.